and Mr. Mayega from Macquarie University. You'll be able to call in shortly and ask them questions or make general comments and contributions to this discussion. Mr. Mayega, we've looked at some of these problems, but there's the issue of campaign money that came into the economy. Some people think it would have distorted the economy, a lot of liquidity in the economy. It pushes up inflation, and then the central bank has to manage inflation, so it sucks money from certain sectors in order to create a good, friendly figure. Is that what we're saying?
Well, my background is actually not economics, but my little knowledge which I have about economics, or the economics of actual direction that we have just concluded, is that yes, money was spent, but surprisingly there are quite a number of people, a lot of people actually, who are saying that money is scarce. Even if the impression given out of the election is that, the campaigns of course, right, is that money has come, so much money has come into the economy, and therefore that is pushing the prices. I would rather want to look at it from the other side. I mean, from the other way, from the other side. What is causing this inflation, especially as far as the consumer goods are concerned, goods and services? The scarcity of these consumer goods,
yes,
I think is causing the bigger problem rather than the money coming from the campaigns, because as I've said, quite a lot of people are saying that actually money is not seen.
Well, but you have two scenarios. Inflation is basically too much money chasing too few goods. That's a classic case now. We have fewer goods and have more money there. Yeah. Because you can't deny that money was injected into the economy. Let's look at just only 4 areas. One, money was given to the EC, a large amount of money to spend. People being paid small allowances here and there, but it was a large amount of money. Some of it went abroad, printing ballot papers and so on, but some money was actually given to the EC, a large amount. Second, the candidates were spending to finance their campaigns. Then we had pledges, presidential pledges and other pledges, and not just the president. The president gave out some of the pledges to the soldiers and other people. Then there was money given to village development committees, and I'm only mentioning a few. So a large amount of money was actually injected into the economy in times of less than 90 days, and yet we have a scarcity of goods, both imported because of the exchange rate problems, and then because of the drought, and then oil spiral. Yeah,
that's why I was arguing that actually the reason as to why we seem to be having quite a bit of inflation in the country is an interplay of a number of factors. First of all, the drought. Yes, we have said that the drought has definitely affected the prices of food products. We have talked about the crisis of fuel, or the looming crisis, because I don't think it is full-blown yet.
No, it isn't.
That also has contributed to this. So it's quite an interplay of factors. Yes, somebody can say that, look, a lot of money has been spent. The EC, when we talk about, for instance, the Electoral Commission, how much money have they spent, first of all? Secondly, if it spent money, how many people, or people actually employed to carry out the activities of the EC? How many people were paid? Because I don't think it is an entire 30 million of the people in the country to warrant an argument that actually it is because of the money which was given to the EC to spend anyhow in the country, therefore causing inflation. Yes, I agree, money was spent, including the campaigns. Yes, the pledges which you are talking about from the president, I think the pledges have always been honored by the president for a very long time. You can argue, some new ones. You can argue.
And I'm not saying they're wrong, but we had some new, like the village development village development funds, which was a new thing. For the first time, it was given out in billions across the countryside.
That's right.
That's money that goes directly to the people down.
Yeah, it goes directly to the people. But let's not forget the fact that even without campaigns, money actually is spent in terms of presidential pledges. Right. And he keeps traveling, because he has been traveling for the last 3 years or something like that. He does actually travel only during the campaigns.
That's true.
And so these pledges are, so I would rather imagine that actually the root cause of the problems that we have at the moment, and as far as inflation is concerned,
right,
as a result of the drought, a result of the oil problem that we have in the country and international and so on and so forth, not rather the money which has been spent in the economy.
Mr. KACITA, I'll still put it to you, how much has this been an issue? Because money, I was looking at it from one perspective. At least we know that 600 billion shillings was passed as supplementary, but I'm not saying it's the entire problem, and I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. 600 billion shillings is about 1.5% of our GDP.
Yes. To
what extent did this help?
It is a very, very huge magnitude comparing what it means in the economic sense. I will tell you that what matters to the economy is the effective demand of the
private
individuals.
Yes.
I will tell you that during election times, a lot of serious economic activities dwindled. with the largest sector of society, the largest employer is government.
Yes.
You have had ministries not spending.
True.
And therefore the money put to coins and distributed to people.
Right.
If a person gets 10,000, the second thought would not be to go for an economic activity, a cup of soda. I mean,
to consume it.
Soda.
Consume it.
You buy peanuts. So a lot of money was so much broken down into coins, and the meaningful society, the economic core of this country had no money to spend.
Yes.
And this means
the people that supply to government.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if I supply government,
you don't get paid.
And I don't get paid, I will not get orders for no imports.
Right.
I will therefore cause a crisis, because this is a demand-driven economy. The forces of demand and the supply will define the price. Right. So if the commodities I'm supposed to, I was supposed to order for 10 containers, because I'm not paid, because government is the largest
for 2
payer,
maybe.
I will ask for 2.
Right.
And because I brought it 2, I will increase the price.
Absolutely.
So this has had a negative effect. The good thing is that it is short-lived. What we now want to look at is how is government measuring to the challenge. That's why I said I proposed that Uganda Revenue Authority needs to assist the Ministry of Finance, to assist the Bank of Uganda come out with the regulatory measures, including a reduction of the exchange rate for clearance of taxes, because that is what the government has the mandate to do. If they say they are going out to regulate on the dollar, we are going to be up in arms. What they can do is what they have in their own hands. Otherwise, if I was to comment on this, a lot of liquidity in peanuts, very small money, everybody holding it and using it uselessly.
Let's look at the increase of money in circulation. The central bank was announcing figures today.
Yes.
In the period, the 1 year period up to January,
yes.
Broad money M2 rose by 35%.
Yes.
Against a target of 20%. That's a bill, about 15 percentage points.
Yes.
That means a lot of money is in the economy.
Yes.
However, we don't see inflation rising. That means there's been some money locked up somewhere. Some money has been sucked out. And one of the things they've done is raise interest rates, issue treasury bonds, so to get money out of the economy. So certain economic sectors are not moving. So inflation is low, but it's you could say it's artificially low, because the economy is not really growing.
I will tell you, there is a big problem again.
Yes.
While you see all this money being spent by the politician, dishing coins, few little monies, and being spent the way they want, because if I have 1,000, I only needed to buy pancakes and a cup of soda.
Right.
If I had 100,000, I would think of buying a bicycle, such that I drive and
create
money.
Value.
Now,
economic
on
value.
the contrary, some people actually took the money from the state, thinking they are going to give it out, and they are holding it.
Yes.
Because they fear to know that they have the money.
Right.
And they are only so there is a lot of money that is useless because it cannot make good effective demand. But the money that would go into the economy is in people's houses.
Right.
Because people are holding it. People took money to give out and they didn't give it out. And because of that, they are holding it. They are only now trying to release it in bits. And this is dangerous to the economic involvement. Because if it is a chunk of money that is presumed to be out of the Bank of Uganda, it cannot be accounted for, but one fears to buy a house. If I build this, they will know I cheated the money. So they should come out and spend this money to real economic activities, and we have it.
So basically we're seeing that money was sucked out of the productive sector. The banks also refused to lend. They slowed down their lending and sent their money abroad, a lot of it.
That's it.
And many people bought dollars, partly contributing to this
and they flew it out.
They bought dollars and repatriated the money. Well, this is Spectrum on Radio, and it's much bigger than we can actually resolve tonight. But you can join us right now in this discussion. Our telephone number is 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0791-909-909. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. As we wait for the callers, Mr. Mayega, these fuel reserves, why are we not seeing government getting interested in fuel reserves? Of course, we know some of the reserves that the government could hold. They could hold, normally, right now they hold dollar reserves. We have reserves worth about 5 to 6 months of imports, which is about $3.5 billion. We could hold gold, which we don't seem to hold gold. We don't seem to hold a lot of gold here in Uganda, but we could also hold oil. Why don't we hold oil, for instance? Because it's something that pumps straight back into the economy.
I cannot authoritatively comment on that one because I'm not in government. I wish, of course, there was somebody from government to answer that one. But all I can say about what's happening is that I want to trust that given the fact that we seem to be having some simmering crisis in as far as fuel is concerned in this country, that probably the government has not felt it wise that they should bring much more fuel on the market as they should have loved.
Let's hear from our first caller. Spectrum, hello.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Very well. Your name, my friend?
My name is Paul Mugambe.
Paul, could you lower the volume on your radio or walk away from it altogether?
My name is Paul Mugambe.
Yes, Paul.
I'm calling from Zira.
You have to switch off your radio, my friend.
Okay, it's off now.
Okay.
Are you clear now?
Yes, we can hear you right now.
Now, you've talked about the factors that have led to the current situation where the inflation is high. Although you said the inflation has not gone up, but actually it has gone up. Looking at the prices of commodities, there's one thing which you've not talked about, which might have been also a factor leading to this, and this is the issue of the money that was printed. We had all the currency in circulation, which was enough to run the economy. Then new notes were printed, which were also equally enough to run the economy. The old notes were not removed from the circulation. That means the money was doubled. And obviously...
Paul, I need to correct you there. You're talking about... Paul?
Yes, please.
The central bank did not, they did not introduce any new money in circulation. They pulled out some of the old notes and introduced new notes. It was not a currency exchange. It was not a currency expansion. It was a reform of the actual currency.
That one also is difficult to prove because when you go to the banks, you're still getting these old notes which are actually new. So that one is also difficult to prove that they removed the old currency. Seems this is the money which was used in the campaign. And I would also... Hello?
We can hear you, Paul. Go on.
I'd like to inform you that a lot of money was put down to the grassroots, especially at the LC level in these campaigns. You may not be knowing it, but committees were created of 40 people all over the country, and these committees were facilitated continuously, and these people were earning money that was not worked for. And in economics, this is very, very dangerous. And when there is a lot of money in circulation, what happens? The dollar rate goes up because the shilling has lost value, and what happens? The